I guess this came to mind because as far as the green movement, it kind of um, may be difficult to get going, and we may think we're only making tiny uh, inlets into changing things, but this kind of points out how the little ripples can be much larger if you just keep at it. So that's why I happened to think of this. It's called the cork's influence. A tour group passed through a particular room in a factory. They viewed an elongated bar of steel, and it weighed 500 pounds. It was suspended vertically by a heavy chain. Near it, an average-sized cork was suspended by merely a silk thread. They said, "You will see something shortly which is seemingly impossible," said the attendant to the group of sightseers. "This cork is going to set this steel bar in motion." She took the cork in her hand, pulled it only slightly to the side of its original position, and released it. The cork swung gently against the steel bar, which remained motionless. For 10 minutes, the cork, with pendulum-like regularity, struck that iron bar. Finally, the bar vibrated slightly, and by the time the tour group passed through the room an hour later, that great bar was swinging like the pendulum of a clock. Many of us feel we are not exerting a feather's weight of influence upon others or making a dent in the bastions of evil in the world. Not so. Sometimes we don't realize how powerful the cumulative influence of God's goodness, which we walk in, is to those around us. Not everyone is called to spread the love of Jesus through the pulpit or evangelistic trail or in a full-time counseling ministry. Most of us are called to live our lives as corks, through word and example, quietly, gently tapping away through the work of our daily lives. Tap by loving tap in God's time, even the quietest Christian can make a huge difference in the lives of those whom preachers may never reach. One modern day philosopher has estimated that the average person encounters at least 20 different people in the course of the day, with a minimum of eye contact or exchange of words or gesture. That is at least 20 opportunities for a cork to tap at the collective human heart. So as you go about your day, remember that even a smile can warm a stranger's heart and draw them to Jesus.
That's really good.
Yeah, neat.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Well, let's center down and think about that for a minute. We'll keep it short, and then we'll get started. Probably won't take it too long with just the few of us. Okay. If you're all all hearts are clear, as we say, we'll get started. So since it's just this small group of us, I'm going to kind of jump around in my agenda. I'll start with, did all of you have a chance to read that email from Jaleesa that I forwarded?
I didn't have a chance.
Yes, I did. I guess I'm kind of concerned that really there is no money for churches at this point, as I read the article.
Well,
And the other thing is we would have to have a signed contract before we can even apply for the grant. Unless there was a clause giving us an out. If we didn't get it, that would put us, the meeting, at risk of possibly a large bill.
well, maybe. Ellen, what were your thoughts before I start?
Well, I read it. I'm not sure I know too much about how these grants work or anything, but um, I think it would be good if we could pull it off. But it looks like um, I'm not sure I understood that. But if Scott says we had to have a contract already signed before we could even apply for it,
That's as I understand it, reading
because
it.
I'm not sure we could convince the meeting to do that without knowing for sure.
It's not really that. There's not
If we could apply, I don't see a problem with it.
what we would be committing to. So a couple of things. They do not have, so right, Faith in Place is responsible for Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana. And they only earlier in 2022 got Indiana. It used to be Interfaith Power and Light, and now Faith in Place has taken that over. So they do not have things established in Indiana as well as they do Wisconsin and Illinois. So they are, like Jaleesa says at the top of the email, they are still working with utility companies in Indiana to see if they can work out getting a free audit. And they don't have that yet. But she was saying that if we had already bought equipment, like to put solar on the roof of the meeting house or whatever, we could apply for this green energy assistance grant that would help cover some of the cost of installation and all of that. But the point that Scott is talking about, so we would have to have a signed solar or geothermal contract in place before we could apply for that grant.
So there is just one grant among all the churches that would apply in these 3 states.
That's
Is
my,
that all, just one?
well, I mean, one grant, but multiple meetings or churches would be
Okay,
eligible
that's
for
fine.
that grant. But I don't know, how much, I don't know how large that grant is or anything. But we would already have to have some sort of contract in place, which would defeat the purpose. I mean, this is because I want the audit first so that we see what areas with the way we use energy need improvement before we invest in anything, So, but then, like Scott was saying, I think it's down here, we would have to provide a monthly report that summarizes the progress of our project back to them. So we would say, and you have to submit a narrative and a financial report, which is a little weird.
Is there a deadline for this? We'd have to take a while, I think, to get our meeting in motion to.
Oh yeah. what my thoughts are with it is to kind of hold on to this, but not do anything with it. And I'll reach out to Jaleesa probably first of the year to see if they've made any progress with Indiana and try to understand it better. Then on the other side, Dinah a while ago had mentioned, I think their last name is Ferguson, some meeting in Indiana that has put solar on their meeting house and has done a lot of this. And I think they would be good for us to talk to understand what's all involved, because
Mhm.
we don't want to be on the hook for something that would end up biting us. And right now there's no money budgeted to do anything with this stuff. So it would be quite a while before we could really do much. I just was hoping to get information for the audit. That's really all I wanted was that survey we did, a few months ago mentions a free green energy audit. I just wanted to do that, and we can't even do that right now. So
Who is our electric provider? Is it Duke or is it the other company?
I believe it's Duke. I'm not 100% sure of that, but
If it was Duke, maybe we could contact them and just ask, do you do audits at churches?
that's a possibility as well.
Yeah,
So
because I'm all in favor of getting a free audit and getting information, but to sign a contract at this point for probably in the tens of thousands of dollars, I don't think the meeting is going to go for that. And I'm not sure I'm not even sure it's a good investment for the meeting.
right. No, I completely agree. I don't think there's just a lot of stuff we would need to learn before we could approach the meeting with anything. So
Yeah.
my thoughts for now is we'll keep kind of plugging away at this, but I'm not going to do anything right now. Oh shoot.
Is there a chance that this might be offered again next year, or is that an annual thing?
Yeah, you can do it any time of any year. It's just waiting to see. And Western Yearly Meeting probably has some grants as well that could be used for this. And I haven't spoken to anybody there yet, but
Well, I'm on the finance committee and we're in the possibly going to approve $50,000 for a project in Kenya at the request of Friends United meeting, which would probably be take any extra monies generated so that I'm not aware certainly of any excess money that WYM has.
right. Okay.
So I wouldn't count on that either. But, you always put an application in, but
Yeah. And again, I'm not talking today. I mean, it could be
yeah.
this time 2023 or 2024.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
We're doing-
that's,
It's just understanding the process really is all I was trying to get done. Shoot, I lost my agenda. Give me just a second here. All right. So yeah, for now, that's just going to be on the back burner. I'll talk to them and I'll talk to these people dying to know and probably move forward with it in uh, early 2023. I mean, move forward in trying to get some sort of audit, find out how much, if we can't get it for free, how much would it cost to pay for it. To reach out to Duke, like you were saying, Sue, also. The main thing I planned on doing in this meeting was for Anita to talk to us about um, something that she got out of the fall steering committee with QEW. Um, so we'll have to talk to her later, but there are QEW does different little webinars, basically little lecture sessions on different topics. And I believe the one she was going to talk to us about is about regenerative agriculture, but I can't remember the details. So we'll have to wait till she gets back to us. And then I was going to address a little bit about COP27, which you know is the United Nations climate summit that has been going on in Egypt the last few weeks. And I've got a really good email from Catherine Hayhoe, who I think a few months ago I forwarded everybody an email from her, or a link to a video with her. She is a climate scientist and a faith leader, and she had a book that tries to approach climate issues with a positive attitude. And she sent an email with really good kind of bullet points of the good and bad that came out of COP27 this year. And of course, a lot of the bad is there are as many fossil fuel industry lobbyists at that summit as there are people trying to reverse the impact of fossil fuel. But so I'll just send that out. I guess the only other thing I was really going to talk about is, so I'm not planning on us having a meeting in December. There's just too many other things going on with both with the meeting, and everybody's got things with family and everything. But I was going to propose a movie night in December that we would do online. Ellen, did you ever, when John Essex did that movie club thing, did you guys ever do that?
No, we didn't, so I'm not familiar with how that would work.
So Laura and I never did it either, but basically if you are like on your computer right now, I can send everybody a link to the same movie, and we can basically watch it from our computer at the same time, and there's a chat thing and we can talk about the movie as we watch it.
Oh, that's fun. That would be
Okay.
good. Would be fun.
Yeah,
Especially in the wintertime.
that's what I thought too. And Laura, were you going to say something?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I thought you were saying something. So December 5th is World Soil Day, which sounds kind of silly, but soil is very important, and sort of in conjunction with World Soil Day, I wanted to watch this film called Kiss the Ground, which Woody Harrelson kind of narrates this movie. It's on Netflix. And I think it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And
We
like
have we have a standing thing that day. If, that we go to a lecture series at the Plainfield Library, so we're out of commission
okay.
in the evening.
So, well, that's the main thing I wanted to do is let's maybe set a date in December that could work. You know, you'll do this from home on your computer, and I'll send out a link ahead of time. So I don't really have a preference except probably a weeknight would be best for us.
Yeah.
Our schedule is building up quite a bit. I'm not sure that December is a good month for this.
Yeah, it's getting
How about January?
We could do January.
yeah. Get the full enough one, which is right behind right the other one. Yeah.
Well, what about trying to see what nights? Laura and I have a standing thing Monday nights. Committee notes Thursday night. Ellen, what works best for you to like watch a movie early in the week or later in the week? What night of the week is usually best?
I'm pretty open. The second Wednesday of the month, I've got a meeting, but outside of that, I'm pretty open that far in advance. I get it on the calendar. Outside of the second Wednesday, I could probably do that any night.
You already got stuff.
We've got stuff, but we have this, we have the second Monday, it depending on when,
No, but Larry said, Jeff said Monday is bad.
yeah.
Laura,
Maybe the third Wednesday or Thursday,
so like the 18th or 19th?
something like that.
I'll go check my calendar real quick.
You know, well after the holidays.
Yes.
Say 17th or 18th or 19th.
18th
18th or 19th.
Okay.
Excuse me. Laura, do you have any preference on?
Not at this time, no. Don't you sometimes have Thursday meetings?
The first Thursday will be ministering council,
Okay.
but 18th or 19th should be free.
I don't really have my January calendar yet, so.
I got my January,
She has one that's
I-
already filling up.
I got that like in September. I went to Dollar Tree and said, hey, I need a calendar.
Oh, I have one, it's just blank.
Well, I started, I put, you know, I'd gotten doctor's appointments way ahead, so like, okay. So they're in, a couple of them.
I could do either night, the 18th or the 19th. I don't know what I missed, what anybody else said.
We're just talking in general, so.
Okay.
Well, let's say for now, maybe the 19th.
Okay.
Okay, I guess, are you going to then put this out on the internet or
Yeah, I want to.
maybe do Survey Monkey or however you're going to do it to see when people can make it?
No, I think we'll just set this date and send it out as this date, and then if there are a lot of people screaming they'd rather do it another time, then I'll move it. But
Yeah,
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay,
I'm pretty open to anything if we need to move it.
and
Right now I'm open, but that's subject to change.
well, for now we'll say Thursday the 19th.
Is this, since it's a movie, is it possible to do your recording and have people watch it later if they can't or not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The
Well,
public copyright.
If it's on Netflix, they could probably watch it on their own if they wanted to.
And I do plan on I'll send it out to our group first, to the green team, but then probably send it out to the whole meeting
Okay.
okay.
Okay,
once. I need to test it out a little bit to make sure it all really works the way I think it does.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I played with it myself, but I probably ought to have Laura try it to make sure it works, and we'll do that.
Yeah, like, is there a cap on how many people can do it at once?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'll look into that.
Okay,
You want to set a time?
I probably should.
You might,
Can't you just display it? Could you play it through Zoom?
I don't know. How, I know you can do PowerPoint through Zoom, but in little clips, but an hour and a half movie, I don't know.
Oh, well, the question I asked is whether we could do this through, play it through Zoom, but we're not sure.
I know that it probably could not be recorded because it's a copyrighted thing. And they.
True.
So,
What do you think about like 6 o'clock?
that sounds good.
Okay,
Laura, what do you think?
I'm thinking we might have to eat dinner while we're watching it.
make it 7?
Because
We're not going to be on camera. We're going to be,
Yeah, so 6 o'clock is fine. So if you hear somebody chewing in the background, that's okay.
We should be muted.
Yes.
Just mute yourself.
Mute yourself, but except if you scream because you just lost a tooth. Yeah.
so. Well, without Anita here, that's really all I have, unfortunately. Are there is there anything any of you want to talk about?
I'd like to hear about your Turkey Run hike. We weren't able to go this year, but
Okay.
or maybe I missed that if you've already talked about it earlier.
No, we didn't. Well, Laura, I think Anita said something to you about maybe some different ideas of how to do it next time.
I don't remember anything.
yeah, it's been so long, I don't remember either.
That's okay. I grew up at Turkey Run and went to Turkey Run High School and
Oh,
know the park very well. And I just hope you enjoyed it. I know it was the week before Covered Bridge.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
I was relieved that was the case.
yeah, you don't want to do it the
Yeah,
same weekend. We-
Yes,
No,
then
I know what crowds are.
The weather was beautiful. So usually, we've done 2 of these, one in the spring and one in the fall. And I usually tried to pick 2 different types of trails so that if there are folks who, with accessibility issues, that they could still go and do something also, and then we would meet and eat later. The thing with Turkey Run is, so many of those trails are pretty rugged that
Right.
we did split up this time, and Laura and I and Linda Mann and Stan and Skip did kind of the easy trail, and then Anita, the Kershoffs, Jaleesa and Christine from Faith in Place, and Farringtons, I think, they all did. I mean, it was listed as moderate, but I think it was still pretty rugged because about half of them turned back and went back to the inn while the others finished the hike.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Yeah, we were in Pittsburgh on business, so we missed it. We would be interested going on the next one.
Yeah.
yeah, I think what Anita had said was that she, like in the spring, everybody did the same trail. And I think that was her feedback, was to try to have something that everybody could do instead of splitting up.
Mhm.
And then someone might have said something about a different place to eat, because both times we've just eaten at the inn, and food was okay at Turkey Run. It wasn't great.
I believe that. I didn't want to say anything, but we've had some bad luck eating at Turkey Run Inn recently. Now, in the past, or at eating at some of the state park inns, because I think they all have the same menu and the same thing we found. Because we do some camping and eat at different state parks. but they all have the same menu, and I didn't want to be negative about it, but I understand.
Yeah, in the spring when we did, it's weird too on when they decide, well, we're just going to do the buffet or we're going to serve
Hmm.
from the menu or both. And when we went to Turkey Run in the spring, they didn't have the buffet. It was all
McCormick's Creek.
menu, and it was all really good. And we had really a time at
That was
Turkey.
McCormick's Creek,
What I say?
Turkey Run.
Oh, yeah, that was McCormick's Creek. At Turkey Run, it was just the buffet that day,
Hmm.
and it, like I said, it was okay, but it wasn't great.
Yeah,
Yeah, it depends on their staffing, and that's, that's after quote, the big rush, so that they're not.
right. I know we stayed at Madison Inn and ate at their inn in February last year, and we were really disappointed in it. But
Mm.
like I said, I think they all have the same menu, and but they could vary from the
Yeah.
staff and all.
So I think I like doing the spring when the wildflowers are kind of at their peak, and that's what we did at McCormick's Creek, and I think everybody really had a pretty good time, and we saw, between Anne and Anita and Laura and a couple others, they just knew about every plant out there. But yeah, so I think when we do this again in the spring, I'm thinking we'll try to pick somewhere again where everybody can do it and maybe not eat at an inn. Find something maybe more, reasonably
Maybe a
priced.
local restaurant, but people have to know the area for that.
Maybe we can all keep our eyes open for, good places to go to see some flowers or whatever, and then
Yeah.
go from there. And
Yeah, could we go back, Scott and I are both thinking about the Anderson Mound. I think it's too far to go to the Angel Mounds by, Evansville.
That's down Evansville, that's too far.
But, going up to Anderson to the mounds up there, we found that was sort of interesting. Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too, is Turkey Run even was a little far from,
Yeah,
the meeting, but I had sort of picked that place. Although this girl Jaleesa, she drove all the way down from Chicago to Turkey Run to meet us there,
oh, wow.
and brought her parents with her and everything.
Is there anything much at Cataract Falls other than the falls?
I don't think so. We've gone there once,
No.
but I'm kind of looking at, so in the Bloomington area, there's a land trust called Sycamore Land Trust, and the land trust
Yeah,
will buy land and preserve it, and nobody can touch it.
right, that would be an interesting thing to do, to look at.
Yeah, and the Sycamore Land Trust, they have bought some land that they have restored a wetland
Mm,
there.
Mm.
And I thought that could be pretty interesting to check out, especially maybe if we could find some, a volunteer or whatever with that organization to kind of tell us about the work they've done and stuff. And then there's
okay.
yeah, that sounds good.
plenty of good places to eat, around Bloomington. That's just my thought, and then that, it's several months away, so.
Right.
Yeah, but the earlier we think about this, then the better off we are. And we can sort of block it in and tell people they make their plans.
there's not really any hiking, but for a real short outing that would be close, I really enjoyed the daffodils last spring that we went to. It wasn't, I don't think, the green team, but just some from the meeting went. I think
We were there, yeah.
you were there, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the first time I'd been there, but I don't know if the others, that would probably be an additional one since it's so short and close, but
That
Just
kinda-
something to keep in mind.
That kind of reminds me, did you go, because we were gone, when Becky had the last garden club meeting, I think it was early October.
Uh, that the one where we had soup and stuff at the church afterwards? Yes, I went to that one.
Did she say anything about her plans for that for next year?
Unfortunately, I think she's was kind of winding it down with that meeting at the after church on that day. I can't remember the date, but that was the closing of the year when we were going to exchange starts or whatever, and she provided soup, and we had nice rolls and salad and everything, and it was a nice gathering, and everybody kind of said a little something, but I think she's not going to really be able to coordinate this next year. So it was kind of left that, we've got our thread on texting set up with everybody that shares. And I think everybody was in agreement. We hoped we could stay in touch and maybe plan some things occasionally, but it may not be a monthly thing. And we kind of need somebody to step forward. And I think it takes somebody to get things rolling, but I I think as we have done it in the past, is finished, but it's open. Everybody seems to be open to continuing it in some form, but it may
Yeah.
be
It's
up to us.
there is going to be a Plainfield garden tour on Father's Day weekend, sponsored by Friends of the Library. That is coming back. Heck, it had been during COVID, it didn't function, but that is basically, we know the dates and everything, and we have
Mhm.
the people that run that are getting volunteers already and things on that one. So that's something to note.
Well, I think just anytime anybody finds something like that that they think because a lot of the green team and the garden group had duplicate members, and so there was some overlap. But I think anytime anybody comes up with a good idea to share or to do, we can toss it out there. I'd like to see us stay together in some form.
Yeah, I
I
think,
like gardens. We used to have a membership to the Chicago Botanical Garden, which was a lot of fun and things. Because we didn't have land that we could garden on,
Mhm.
but it's still nice to
I
go
think we
out
have a
and
lot of neat places around locally that we still could, go
we
to
can
and
still
see.
do some stuff.
It's just, we all need to pitch in and participate and suggest things, and we can be loosely organized. We wouldn't have to be every month, but
Now, we're
Yeah.
fairly new to the area. Isn't there an arboretum someplace in Indianapolis?
are you talking about at the zoo? There's
Not the zoo.
Garfield, something
Is
is in there.
Garfield Park? Is
yeah,
that-
Garfield Park, I think has something. It's been a long time since I've been there, but yeah, they do. Look it up online.
Okay, I'm just wondering someplace fairly close, and at least that, even if it's cold out, that's inside, or
Yeah.
part of it's
Yeah.
inside.
Newfields is wonderful. If anybody's ever been to
Now,
Newfields,
we were there.
We went to Newfields.
but there's a lot of cutting gardens. I don't think anybody went to that one at Franklin last year that Becky had planned, but she really raved about it, and we could always plan to go to that again since nobody went, but
Okay,
Yeah, again. Sure.
well, that's kind of why I was asking, because there is overlap, like, the pollinator garden, stuff like that. That's a garden thing, but it's also a green thing.
Mhm.
So we can, look, like you're saying, Ellen, look for opportunities for just a small group to go do things. And then like the hike, I like to invite the whole meeting to that.
Mhm.
we do that. And, so there's things we can do just as a group, but also the whole meeting. But
And just, sharing on texting. I think we did that this fall when some of us still had some flowers blooming, and I always enjoyed seeing other pictures and everything. So we can kind of stay somewhat together through texting and making plans.
Mm-hmm.
alrighty, well, I don't have anything else, and we're about 45 minutes in, so I will let you guys go. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for hosting this. We like this.
And so for now, we will look to have our film thing in January. And I'm going to try to talk to some other people about how to do an energy audit of the meeting house and just sort of leave the faith and place thing alone for now, I think. And we'll go from there.
Okay, good.
Sounds good.
Take
Sounds
care.
good. Take care.
Okay,
Bye-bye for now.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.